So today, of course, I want to talk about Bitcoin once again and why Robert Kiyosaki thinks that Bitcoin is the insurance against corruption. Right now I'm attending the Bitcoin 2023 conference and I've talked to a lot of people about Ordinals inscription. So far, everyone I spoke to have said that this is a good thing, that they're very excited. This opens up possibilities for Bitcoin. And it's quite refreshing because I thought I would bump into people. Maybe I didn't talk to the right people, but the people I did talk to, they were all receptive of this. And take a look, even MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor, they're looking at uses for ordinals. Remember, ordinals and inscription is not just for NFTs. You could do a lot more with it. It's just that it started with NFTs and led to memes, but still, there are a lot of use cases for this that MicroStrategy now will be exploring. That's fantastic. That's really, really good if you think about it, right? Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And as for other things that's going on, Jack Dorsey is investing in a Bitcoin voucher service. This will make it easy in Latin America and Europe. You could just go in a convenience store, right? Say you want to buy some Bitcoin, they give you a voucher, and you go online and then you get it, right? So it just makes everything really simple. Kind of, if you think about it, kind of replaces like Bitcoin ATMs. I mean, there are some places just, it's just very hard to find Bitcoin ATM. And not to say that if you do, it's a good idea because usually the spreads are really far off. But it's just another way to onboard people into Bitcoin, into the best and most secure decentralized network we have today, right? Overall, that's pretty positive. Pretty positive. Of course, Bitcoin's price movement is still kind of iffy, right? It's sitting around under 27,000. There's a lot of people that are waiting for a breakout. It may happen, may not. Remember, I remind you guys during these conferences, usually there's a lot of volatility. Usually the volatility is not good either. I don't know why. Last year, the same thing. This year, kind of same thing. But overall, what we're waiting for is the next top. We have definitely started coming off from bottom. I don't know how many times I could reinforce this notion, but it's been a few months now, right? Since the beginning of the year, we headed down to 15,000, right? And then afterwards, you see the slow recovery, and then after the halving event, that's when you start seeing the crazy exponential gains, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. We're coming off from bottom, right? Slow and steady growth, and then boom, eventually in 2024, I believe after a halving event, that's when you see the parabolic rise up. And this one also shows you MACD crossover, right? But this is what we're waiting for, the next top. But in the meantime, we can still see in 2023, we can still see a good gain even from where we are now. Can we double to say $50,000 by July or August? It certainly can happen. I mean, there's just a lot of models right now, right, that people are formulating in terms of the next top. Here's another one that shows that Bitcoin's next top will be November of 2025, and it'll be about 130,000. Now, this is actually a very conservative model, obviously, because we have seen models that show 200, 250,000, 500,000 top, right? This one's actually very conservative, saying 130, and then the one after that, because after we hit that top, we'll probably come back down, right? And then it shows the one after that being 170. So there's, diminishing returns, obviously. The growth curve is slowing down, right? But you know what? I think that's too conservative. I honestly think, especially in 2029, as we're getting closer to 2030, to be at 170,000, way, way conservative. ARK Invest said that their model projects that best case scenario by 2030, Bitcoin will be at 1.5 million, and worst case scenario, absolutely worst case scenario, 250,000, and a medium scenario being around $600,000. So I actually think this is very, very conservative, but I guess we will see. We will see. All right, guys, I'm going to keep this nice and short for you guys. The head chair Powell is set to speak. Actually, By the time you watch this, he probably would have started his speech. So I don't know what he's going to say. But again, the attention is on Fed Chair Powell. How aggressive or non-aggressive will he be? And also, is there a possibility of a pivot if all these retailers are starting to struggle, right? That's the big question mark. So again, people really don't know how to handle it right now. Everyone's kind of guessing, speculating, right? And there are still some economists that think that Powell's not done, even though he's been so aggressive with the rate hikes, that it may even continue and defy market expectations, which would be absolutely horrible because keep in mind, it's not just some retailers that are suffering. The banks are suffering too. They have basically no business. Commercial lending is gone. And even consumer lending has slowed down to a crawl, right? So it's not just the retailers, of course, the banks, and of course, it's not just businesses. It's you and I and everyone else, right? Uh, yeah, this is a tricky situation and it's all connected. I don't know, it seems like we're going a death spiral at some points. And that is why someone like Robert Kiyosaki urges to buy Bitcoin, right? You know, all this talk about soft landing with Powell. Here's a quote: soft landing, hard landing, or crash landing. I say crash landing. I hope I'm wrong, yet that is what I believe. Corruption is high and leaders corrupt. Buy gold, silver, Bitcoin. Still best insurance against corruption and competence, right? And I agree with that. I mean, if you're unsure, you want to protect your money, you want to protect your wealth, you hate inflation, you hate what Fed Chair Powell could do with rates and everything else that goes along with it, right? And bank failures and weakness, right? If you want to control your own destiny, you want to control your own assets and hold on something that no one can inflate or deflate or apply policy to, well, that's Bitcoin. That's Bitcoin, right? I think that's a very powerful message. Also, speaking of what else is going on in Bitcoin uh, besides how it's insurance against corruption, Bitcoin Bitcoin is insurance against corruption, especially with what we're seeing right now with the rate hikes, with the bank failures, right? We had a lot of controversy this year, right? Monetary policy jacking things up, rates are high, but inflation is still high. And you know what? If Fed Chair Powell continues, will more retailers go under? Will more banks go under? Hopefully not. Hopefully not. That's why you want to stick with Bitcoin. And there are so many exciting things happening right now, especially now that ordinals are getting hot. Let's just see where this could take us.